The air is still before dawn, heavy with dust and the faint scent of the river. Somewhere, a reed pipe hums softly, and you open your eyes to a world 4,000 years old. You are a farmer on the banks of the Euphrates, in the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers. The thatched roof above you drips faintly with dew. The clay walls of your house hold in the cool of the night for just a few more minutes before the sun turns everything to heat and light. Good evening, historians. Thank you so much for supporting the Dozing Dragon. If you enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below so I can see your thoughts on ancient Mesopotamia. I can't wait to read them. Enjoy. Outside, a rooster crows. The river glimmers in the half-light, winding through fields that will soon blaze gold with barley and wheat. You pull on a linen tunic and step into the yard, where the first sounds of morning stir. The oxen low impatiently. Goats bleat from their pen. You can already hear your neighbor calling to his sons to fetch the plough from under the awning. It is planting season again, the beginning of the agricultural cycle that rules every breath of your life. This is Sumer, around 2300 BCE, one of the first places on Earth where humans traded the life of hunters for the rhythm of the soil. To outsiders, it looks like a miracle. Cities rising out of mud and reeds, temple towers scratching at the sky, writing carved into clay tablets. To you, it is simply home, where work begins with the sun and ends when the stars rise. You walk toward the riverbank where irrigation canals split off from the main flow. The Euphrates is both a blessing and a curse. Without its annual floods, your crops would wither. But when it swells too high, the water devours fields and homes alike. Long before you were born, your ancestors learned to tame it. They dug ditches with wooden shovels, lined them with reeds, and carved an entire network of channels to bring water to fields far from the river. The work is endless. Each flood deposits new silt, but also fills canals with debris that must be cleared. This morning, like so many mornings before, you wade knee-deep into the cold water to clear a blockage of reeds and mud with your bare hands. By sunrise, the village is alive. Smoke curls from clay ovens. Women grind grain between heavy stones, their rhythmic scraping filling the air with a steady hum. Children chase each other around the courtyards, shouting and laughing until their mothers call them back to carry water or fetch firewood. In the distance, the ziggurat of the city temple catches the first sunlight. It glows pale gold, its terraces stacked like a mountain built by human hands. To the people of Mesopotamia, the gods live close to that tower. To you, the farmer, the temple is also the heart of the economy. You pay a portion of your harvest as tax to the priests, and in return, they offer protection, organize irrigation, and keep the records that measure what each family owes. You hitch the oxen to the plough, a heavy wooden frame tipped with bronze, and set them moving across the damp soil. The smell of earth rises rich and sweet. Each furrow you cut is a small act of faith, a promise that the flood will come again and that the barley seeds you drop into the mud will grow straight and strong. Farming here is a gamble against nature, and the gods are the only insurance you have. Every season begins with offerings. At planting time, the priests bless the fields with water from the temple cistern. During harvest, you will bring a basket of the first grain to the temple of Enlil or Inanna. You are illiterate, but you know that the temple scribes press tiny wedge-shaped marks into clay tablets to record everything. The number of bushels owed, the laborers assigned to dig a canal, the dates of the lunar cycle, the sound of their styluses clicking against clay is the sound of order itself. Without those marks, no one could remember who owed what, and chaos would swallow the land. By mid-morning the sun is fierce. The fields shimmer. Sweat runs into your eyes, and you wipe it away with a rough sleeve. Your wife and daughter bring water and bread wrapped in a cloth, barley flatbread with a few onions and dates. The bread is coarse and dense, baked on the inside of a clay oven that sits in your courtyard. On better days, when a fishing net yields something extra, You eat dried fish or stew made with lentils, leeks, and herbs. Meat is rare, a luxury saved for feasts or temple offerings. You sit on your heels in the field to eat, looking toward the horizon where the date palms mark the edge of the irrigation canals. Beyond them, the desert stretches flat and endless. The land between the Tigris and Euphrates is fertile only because humans make it so. If the canals are neglected, the soil turns white with salt and nothing grows. You have seen it happen to fields left untended. Sometimes you wonder if the gods tire of human hands, always asking, always shaping, always carving order out of chaos. When the meal is finished, work resumes. You guide the oxen patiently. The younger men laugh and sing as they sow, their voices carrying on the dry wind. Birds swoop low to snatch seeds from the furrows, and you chase them off with claps and shouts. From time to time, a temple overseer rides by on a donkey, checking the progress of the fields. He carries a tally stick marked with notches, counting the number of plots each family works. By afternoon, the heat thickens. You retreat to the shade of a palm and rest. The air buzzes with insects, and the reeds along the canal whisper in the wind. In the distance, you can see the city walls. Beyond them lie narrow streets, markets filled with the smell of fish and baked bread, potters shaping clay jars, weavers at their looms. When you visit the market after harvest, you will bring barley or sesame oil to trade for tools or cloth. Silver and copper are used for large transactions, but barter is still common. Everything you own has passed through many hands, each exchange recorded by a scribe somewhere on a tablet that will last longer than any house or memory. When the sun sinks low, you drive the oxen home. The animals snort and flick their tails as you unyoke them and lead them to the pen. You wash your hands in a clay bowl and feel the grit of silt under your nails. In the courtyard, your wife tends a small fire, boiling water in a pot blackened from years of use. The smell of lentil stew fills the air. The children feed scraps of straw to the goats. Neighbors call greetings over the walls. The entire village glows amber in the setting light. As you eat, the talk turns to rumors from the city. The king in Uruk is said to be building new walls. Traders from far lands have arrived, with copper from Oman and timber from Lebanon. A caravan passed last week, carrying lapis lazuli from Afghanistan. You do not expect to see such wonders yourself, but they connect your small world to something vast. The same rivers that feed your crops carry goods, stories, and ideas across hundreds of miles. Sometimes you wonder what lies beyond them. After supper, you walk to the edge of the fields. The stars are sharp now, and the moon glows faintly over the water. You can hear frogs calling in the canals. Across the darkened fields, the silhouettes of zebu cattle stand motionless. You think of the gods again, of Enki, who controls the rivers, of Nana, the moon god, whose silver light marks the passing of months. You whisper a small prayer, not for glory or wealth, but for water at the right time and enough grain to feed your family. The night deepens. In the village, the air smells of smoke and dust. Someone strums a lyre and sings a song that has been sung for generations. It tells of the first farmer who learned to plant grain when the rivers flooded, a gift from the gods. The children listen with wide eyes, half believing, half dreaming. You remember your father singing the same tune, and you know that when you are gone, your children will sing it too. Days blend into weeks, weeks into seasons. Each cycle follows the same rhythm. In late autumn, the floods retreat, leaving a layer of fertile silt. You and your neighbors repair the canal banks and plough the fields again. In spring, the barley heads turn gold, and harvest begins. The air fills with the sound of sickles swishing through stalks. Men cut, women bind, children carry bundles to the threshing floor. The grain is beaten with flails, winnowed in the wind, and poured into great clay jars sealed with bitumen. Part of the harvest goes to the temple storehouses. The rest is divided among the families. A scribe records the quantities, and the jars are stacked in cool rooms where grain can last for years. You know that when famine comes, The temple will ration food according to those records. It is a system as old as memory, and it keeps the village alive. Sometimes the king himself visits the countryside. His entourage travels in a glittering procession, soldiers in bronze helmets, officials carrying tablets and styluses. The farmers kneel as he passes, for the king is the chosen of the gods, the earthly guardian of order. In return, he is supposed to keep the canals clear and the borders safe. When the king fails and drought or invasion comes, the people whisper that he has lost the favor of the gods. There are omens everywhere in your world. A sudden storm, a bird flying west instead of east, a fox crossing the path before sunrise. The priests in the city interpret these signs, reading the entrails of sheep or the pattern of oil on water. You trust their wisdom because the line between divine will and natural law is invisible. If the flood fails, it is because someone has angered Enlil. If disease spreads among the goats, perhaps a taboo was broken. You live not in years, but in cycles. Flood, planting, harvest, rest. The calendar carved on clay tablets in the temple counts months by the moon, 12 or 13 each year. Festivals mark the turning points. At the new year, statues of the gods are carried through the streets and everyone feasts. At harvest, the first fruits are offered. Music, wine made from dates, and laughter fill the air. Even in hard times, celebration is a form of survival. Your home is simple but strong, built from sun-dried mud bricks plastered with clay. The walls are thick enough to keep out the heat. Inside, the floor is packed earth covered with woven mats. There are few possessions: pottery jars, reed baskets, wooden stools, a loom for your wife's weaving, and a small clay idol on a shelf. A household god who guards the family. The hearth is the center of life, and the smell of smoke and bread clings to everything. Children learn early to work. Boys follow their fathers to the fields, learning to plow, to mend canals, to handle oxen. Girls help their mothers spin wool, weave cloth, and prepare meals. Education beyond that belongs to the sons of scribes and priests, who spend their days in tablet schools, copying lines of cuneiform until their hands cramp. Sometimes you envy them, but mostly you are proud of what you know. You can read the soil, the clouds, the temper of animals. You understand the rhythm of the flood better than any scholar. Once or twice in a lifetime, disaster strikes. A flood comes too high and sweeps away houses, or too low and starves the fields. Sometimes war reaches even here. Soldiers march through the countryside, taking grain and animals in the name of the king. You hide what you can. When the danger passes, you rebuild. Life on the floodplain demands resilience. In quieter years, you help dig new canals or repair levees. The entire community works together, men with picks and baskets, women bringing water and food. When the project is finished, the temple holds a feast. The gods are thanked, and the people dance. You see old friends from other villages, trade news, and tell stories that stretch back to the first kings. Some say that long ago, before there were cities, the gods themselves taught humans how to dig canals. Whether that is true or not, you know that without water there is no life, no harvest, no future. At night you sometimes walk to the riverbank and look at the reflections of stars in the water. The same stars that guided your ancestors still shine on you. The rivers murmur endlessly, carrying silt and time. You wonder if the world beyond the desert is anything like this one, filled with people working, praying, hoping for rain. You do not know that far in the future others will dig in this same soil and find the clay tablets that record your world, tablets that will speak across thousands of years in wedge-shaped signs. As the seasons turn again, the barley ripens. You feel the rough heads between your fingers and think of how much depends on them: food, taxes, offerings, life itself. You sharpen your sickle, a curved blade of bronze bound to a wooden handle, and step into the fields at dawn. The sky blushes pink, and the stalks sway like a sea. You begin to cut, steady and sure. The rhythm of the harvest is the heartbeat of the land. Each stroke joins you to every farmer who came before and every one who will come after. When the last sheaf is bound, you kneel in the stubble and give thanks. The gods have been kind this year. The granaries will be full, and your children will eat through the winter. Smoke rises from the village again as fires are lit for the harvest feast. You hear music and laughter, the sound of life returning after months of labor. Later, when darkness settles, you lie down under the open sky. The reeds rustle in the night breeze, and somewhere an ox shifts in its sleep. The river glimmers faintly in the moonlight, carrying silt and secrets toward the sea. You think of the endless pattern of days, rising with the sun, working the earth, trusting the rivers, offering thanks. It is a life both humble and grand, tied to the pulse of creation itself. Sleep comes slowly. You listen to the low hum of crickets and the whisper of water in the canal. Tomorrow the work begins again, as it always does. In this place between rivers, where time is measured in floods and harvests, you are part of something larger than any king or temple. You are a farmer of Mesopotamia, the quiet heartbeat of the first civilization, and as you close your eyes, the world breathes with you. Thank you so much for listening in tonight. Again, like, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed the video. Thanks.